Satoru Gojo is one of the most overpowered characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. Although he is overpowered, we have to admire the fact that he's more than resilient and one of the most intelligent characters to ever live. He has showed himself in the face of the strongest individual in history, which is being Sukuna, someone that was even known as a natural disaster. Now, within this video, we are going to explain and actually break down how Satoru Gojo, this immortal being who can defy death every single time. This is the second time he's done this. Now, let's not waste any time. If you haven't already, make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and let's break down how Gojo has been able to beat death twice. So firstly, we have to acknowledge the first time that he beat death. This was against Toji Fushiguro, in which he was planning on just protecting Riko. Riko was being targeted by Toji Fushiguro, and Gojo had to make sure that his eyes and his limitless was always on because he didn't want to be snuck in the process. He has been tied for 3 days after looking after Riko, and when he let his guard down finally, as he was able to approach the barriers within Jujutsu High, which means no other person would be able to see, you can see he was snuck, and this was definitely in the worst way. You can see that as he was hit, he was very surprised to see him, but he was okay because he was able to concentrate on the cursed energy to make sure he doesn't get hurt. Geto had to take Riko away, even though this newfound individual named Toji was actually one of the most broken characters in Jujutsu Kaisen also. He had zero cursed energy. He was really trying to make sure that he kills Gojo in the end. So as they are fighting, you can see that even though Gojo is tired, he's quite a problem for Toji, but Toji is so fast that he was able to escape anything that Gojo threw at him in the process. You can see that Gojo is thinking of multiple things, and because Toji had zero cursed energy, he couldn't even predict his movements and couldn't detect him. So anything that had cursed energy was distracting Gojo, even with the 6 eyes, from seeing where Toji is in the process. You can see that Toji Fushiguro was playing this very strategically as they were fighting, bit by bit, and then this led Toji to use the fireflies, which fireflies were a very good indication and distraction for Gojo Satoru, in which he didn't know if he was going to fight against Toji right now or if Riko was going to be attacked by Toji, so he was then lost in his thought. And then Toji was behind and stabs him in the throat. Not only does Toji stab him in the throat, as a true assassin, he makes sure that Gojo is immobile in every way. Gojo is stabbed in the leg, Gojo is stabbed literally everywhere to make sure that he cannot come back alive. And just to finish off, you see to the head, he gets stabbed straight away with a normal knife. This would kill anyone. This is a direct shot to the brain. In fact, this is something that I couldn't believe he could survive, but it's because he finally found out while he was in a very critical condition, to the point where people would say he is dead out of nowhere. You see, the next couple hours, I would say, Gojo Satoru comes into terms with Toji later on, explaining how exactly he was able to get to this point. He learned in that specific moment, the time that meant he would have died, that the reverse curse technique, besides Shoko who knows it, he finally understood it, which resulted into the awakening of the Gojo we have today, destroying Toji in the process. He was able to save himself from death and bring himself up into the light to show that he is the honored one. That is the first time that Gojo actually survived death. Now let's bring it to the second time Gojo went ahead and survived death again. So in the second time he survived death, this is against Sukuna, the big bad wolf Sukuna. This was in the midst of a domain expansion battle, and this domain expansion battle was probably one of the greatest battles we could have had to date, but the problem was that Gojo had a barrier in his domain expansion. Sukuna didn't have any barrier of a sort because he had the perfect domain expansion, being able to defeat Gojo and then on top of that cutting him to pieces. Now this is when you expect Gojo has to die here, man. They got hit with a guaranteed hit, which pretty much a lot of people would say this is a guaranteed kill because he's chopping everything down until it's gone. But as that was seemed to be the case, Gojo Satoru uses the reverse curse technique he used the first time to save himself again. But the difference this time, the thing that absolutely changes, is that he's getting constantly barraged with slashes again and again. Now his old self would have definitely died in this situation, but this is a new Gojo. This is 10 years later, 11 years later Gojo, and in this Gojo acknowledges and believes that his curse technique is greater than Sukuna. He feels even more confident, even though he's getting slashed, that he is greater greater than Sukuna. Now, as he keeps getting cut, you can see Sukuna doesn't want him to be free. He doesn't want him to escape. Because Sukuna has a barrierless domain expansion, it means there's an escape route for Gojo to leave, and this escape route is easier than if he was fighting within a barrier domain. So what did that mean? It means Sukuna was trying to stop him from doing that, and in this case Gojo kept being cut again and again and again. Nothing was changing. He was getting cut and using his reverse curse technique at the same time while doing hand-to-hand combat with Sukuna, and surprisingly beating Sukuna in this case, because really and truly Gojo should be in the biggest disadvantage ever, but he's still able to use the reverse curse technique, survive his slashes, move very well, and defeat Sukuna at the same time. That is busted. So Gojo detects that he's in the center of the Malevolent Shrine, and the shrine is at the center and not Sukuna himself. So the barrier doesn't move according to Sukuna, it actually is according to its own creation, the own expansion. And then we actually see that Gojo finds a way to finally stop getting slashed while Sukuna was attacking him at the same time, because it was almost unfair. Like, it was pretty much unfair. And then he hits him with a simple domain, simple shadow style domain, and the shadow style domain allows Gojo to stop being hurt. So Gojo has now used reverse curse technique, used a simple domain, and then he's fighting Sukuna at the same time. This is busted, and it is said by Yuta as well that Gojo can't run out of cursed energy. He keeps going and going and going because of the 6 eyes. This unlocks some time for his body to heal, because now he's not getting slashed and the simple domain is holding up his own, and in the process. But that didn't stop Sukuna from still trying to fight Gojo. Gojo is now fighting hand-to-hand combat again, but he's not getting slashed this time. And then the simple domain breaks. The simple domain breaks and it runs out because Sukuna, in this case, has a domain expansion that's so powerful, so it could not sustain it for long. Then, while being cut, you can see Gojo has to spam the simple domain again. But the difference, even though Sukuna is getting frustrated, the difference is that Sukuna is not using his reverse curse technique no more. This is what saved him against Toji, and this is what is saving him currently now. Why is he not using it? It's the best thing to use. It's like he's about to stop finishing his cursed energy, something that Yuta said that it wasn't possible. Even Ino says that, you know, with fighting Sukuna, maybe his cursed energy can actually run out because he's doing so many things at once. But then, as you can see, Gojo on the brink, and it looks like he's gonna lose. We are hit with, is Gojo Satoru going to lose? Then Gojo does something that's unexpected. He jumps on Sukuna. Sukuna is even surprised, but he's wondering, why does he have so much speed? And then we are introduced to the curse technique reversal, Red. And that, guys, that is the ability to use Red to push him away from himself, destroying that space, which really lets you know, which really lets you understand that the reverse curse technique didn't run out, is that he was using the reverse curse technique to replenish his curse technique being burnt out, allowing him to use the Red reversal. Because if he kept using it for his body and his face, then he wouldn't have had his curse technique to use. So he decided to concentrate on something else, and in the process of concentrating on something else, we see he decided to concentrate on the curse technique to blast Sukuna away, which leaves Sukuna smiling as well, like enjoying this fight. And him getting away means that within the super domain, Gojo could finally escape, and that was the second time he beat death. But the similarity between the two times was the fact that Gojo, every time he wants to get the upper hand on somebody, he lets go of one thing. Back in the day, when it was against Toji, he let go of the fact he was trying to survive and fight back, so he decided to learn other ways to be able to survive and concentrate on that, which let him unlock the reverse curse technique. And in this situation, you can see that he gave up on trying to constantly use the simple domain and reverse curse technique on his body, but to replenish, to get Sukuna away. Gojo is one of the highest IQs within Jujutsu Kaisen. I think it's fair to say he's one of the GOATs. And that's the conclusion of the video. Hey, make sure to leave a like on the video, as I say all the time. It'd be much appreciated, trust me. Subscribe if you're new. Look at the videos in the screen right here. You know, I know you must like one of these videos. And yeah, as I say to the new people that come and visit my channel, Jana.